Hi guys, my name is June. Welcome back to my channel. I am just here to answer a few questions of many people who ask, how did I get into nursing or healthcare for that matter? Um, Growing up in school, I needed to do different things. My first thing is I thought I'd be a lawyer because I can put up a good debate. That didn't end up happening. And then what else did I want to be? It was law. Most of the time, it was law. I don't think I ever deviated from um, getting into law. That's all what I wanted the entire time. And then at the time I was about to finish high school, computers came up. So my parents said, "Do you want to do computers? There's this new thing. And do you want to do computers?" I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I went, I did computers, computer programming to be specific. Loved it, loved it, loved it. But then along the way, as I was training, tragedy hit in my family. And it was one after the other. Even at the time I was doing computers, I had already lost a loved one. My brother, who I followed, had meningitis in the hospital for literally one night and died. I was kind of younger at the time, so it didn't hit a nerve with me. And then went ahead, did the computer programming. My sister at the time had started getting sick. And at the time, they were doctors. She was seeing doctors. Nobody had ever said, "Oh, this is what's going on." If they knew what was going on, nobody said anything about it. So she did get pregnant with her first child, delivered her first child, and then used to have a rash that we went to dermatologist after dermatologist after dermatologist that nobody told us what it was. Eventually, I had a sister, a big sister, mentor, like not blood sister, but mentor sister called Mary. When I told Mary about how that rash looked like, I think she was the only honest person that told me, "You know what that rash is? It is HIV. When your sister delivers the second baby," at this time she was pregnant, "when she delivers the second baby, she's not going to survive." True to Mary's words. Literally 2 weeks after she delivered her second baby, she had a Christmas baby right on the 25th. 2 weeks after she delivered this baby, she died. Little prepared, because my friend had prepared me. Started working computer programming in a hospital at that time. Had a little bit of healthcare, but no health training, but a little bit of healthcare knowledge to know that what she had told me was true. This was a big sister mentor, so she wouldn't have told me what was not true. Second tragedy, um, close to my grandmother. I was named after my grandmother. Close to my grandmother. I asked them, I said, "How come grandma doesn't remember us?" Every time we go, we say, "Grandma, do you know who this is?" "Oh, yes, I know who it is." "Grandma, what is my name?" "Oh, I know what your name is. I don't have to tell you what your name is. I know what your name is." Nobody knew. I didn't know what Alzheimer's was at the time. It was, my grandma has been dead for what, 30 years. So at the time, I didn't know what grandma was suffering from. Later on, to know that it was Alzheimer's, I didn't know. They said, "Oh, old people usually forget." Culturally in Africa, they'll say, "Old people usually forget." And grandma died close to grandma, very close to my grandma. So then the tragedy started hitting, and I thought to myself, why do I have to wait for people to tell me what is going on with family members? Why don't I go to school myself to find out what is going on with family members? So that was my journey. That is how I started nursing school. Decided I'll go to nursing school. Let me find out for myself disease processes, what happens when people get sick, what kind of diseases, what are the signs and symptoms. That was my journey into nursing school. It was never a choice. I never stood up anywhere between first grade and eighth grade or high school to say, "Oh, I want to be a nurse." Never in my wildest dreams. The people who will tell you, I knew what I wanted to do growing up. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. That's what I wanted to be. But never in my wildest dreams had I thought I'd be a nurse. So they'll tell you, you have to love it. It has to be a passion. Mine was not a passion. I went there via tragedy and it turned into a passion, but it was life that took me into nursing. It was never a dream, never stood up in class when they asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up, never mentioned anything in healthcare. My friends that I used to have, I still have them. They're the same friends I have now. At the time I worked in a hospital as a computer programmer, every time that a patient passed, and I was at the hospital we were working at, they used to give us lunch at midnight. So anytime I was on my way to lunch or anywhere in the corridor and met them transporting a body that of a patient that had passed, I would run the other direction. And they found it so fascinating, but it was, I was scared. I would line up in funerals when they were viewing the body, but I'd never view the body. I'd get there and look aside and pass by. Never in my wildest dream, never a passion, get up and stand up and say, this is what you want to be. I do not recall. My friend Hazel and all can vouch for it. I never ever stood up in class and said that's what I wanted to be. So that was technically how I got into it. Fell in love with it. Wasn't my initial passion, but fell in love with it. I could say now I have two careers. I have the computer programming and I have the nursing, but that was my journey into nursing. Tragedy of family members that I got tired of and told myself, let me go to school. I'll learn the disease process. I'll learn at least signs and symptoms. So if somebody starts having, then you have a clue. You may not have the entire answer, but you do have a clue what is going on with that person. And voila, that's how I got into healthcare. Love it to death. So whenever you ask a young person, what do you want to be when you grow up? Wait until they mature, because sometimes we say what we are seeing at the time, and I probably would have made a great lawyer. I can put up a good game, but I think it changes over time. What they want to be in elementary to high school to when they finish high school, it can change, it varies. So give them grace. They don't necessarily have to know. You don't really have to know what you want to be. You can figure it out once you're grown up. It doesn't matter these days. Whatever you want to be, figure it out when you figure it out, not under societal pressure. Culturally, I speak of Africans asking you what you want to be when you're young, or in those days, our parents telling us this is what you're going to do, other than what is passionate for you to follow. So give them grace. What they want to be in elementary will change in high school, and it will change after high school. That's okay, but that was my journey. I wish you guys a great week. Nice talking to you. We'll bring up another video. You have a great week. Bye-bye.